I'm so excited to be back. Thank you, Congressman. I want to thank all of you. Look, when we drove up, I saw people walking down the street. It took time to get here. You've been waiting for us for a few minutes. I am grateful that you came here today, and I am glad to be back with you, and I'm excited about Tuesday, and I want to thank you for your support, because we are on our way to turning this country around in 2016.
Do it!
We need to offer this country a clear alternative to the last 8 years, and we will when I am our nominee, thanks to your help.
Amen!
We have taken those millions of dollars and put them into the stock market just like a normal person would do, just into the stock market. He would have more money today than Warren Buffett. But instead, he invested it in hotels that went bankrupt. He bankrupted a casino. How do you bankrupt a casino? The house always wins. Here's what's not funny about that. Anytime he bankrupted a business, the people who paid the price were the contractors he had hired. We're also hearing from them. I'm telling you, they are calling nonstop small businesses that did work, and he pulled his money out, and he did what he needed to do, and they never got paid. He is not some great businessman. He's taken 4 companies into bankruptcy. You ever heard of Trump Air? It's gone. 4 casinos bankrupt in Atlantic City. He is not some genius. He is a guy that inherited hundreds of millions of dollars, and had he invested in the stock market, he would have been better. Time to open our eyes. It is time to open our eyes. We cannot allow a con artist to get access to the nuclear codes of the United States of America. It's a big fraud. And it's time to open our eyes, and we will in the days and weeks to come. I'm confident of it. Now, what happens when you attack Donald? He goes on Twitter. You guys want to have a little fun today? Well, last night he actually was pretty calm after I punched him around a little bit. I think he's learning how to spell, I guess. But he's flying around on Air Force One and tweeting. So here's the one tweet he put out. He put out a picture of me having makeup put on me at the debate, which is amazing to me that a guy with the worst spray tan in America is attacking me. Donald Trump likes to sue people. He should sue whoever did that to his face. Right? So, let's move on, because this is an important election. Why am I so fired up about this? It's not just because I want to save the country from a con man. It's not just because I want to save the party from a con artist, but because this election is so important for our future. What is at stake here is not just who the next president's going to be. What is at stake here is what kind of country is America going to be in the 21st century. Some of these reporters are scared of him because they're scared of all the Twitter hate that they get when they say something nasty about him. But I think the bigger reason is because they're just licking their chops. They're just waiting for him to be the nominee. The day he is the nominee, which of course is never going to happen, they are going to tear him to shreds. And by the way, the Democrats are being gleeful about it. They know if I'm nominated, we're going to win. They attack me more than anyone else in this race. The Democrats attack me more than anyone in this race because they know that if I'm nominated, we will win. Because we will unite this party and we will grow it. But they're holding back, and they know that if we nominate Donald Trump, they're going to win. And they just can't wait to shred him, and they will. We cannot afford to lose this election.
No.
Because if we stay on the road we're on right now, if Bernie Sanders is elected president, we will. Bernie Sanders is a socialist.
Absolutely.
Now, usually when you call someone a socialist in American politics, they get mad about it. Bernie says it in his commercials. He's a socialist. We don't want to be a socialist country. If you want to live in a socialist country, move to a socialist country. We want to be America. We cannot lose this election. We cannot lose this election, and if you nominate me, we will not lose this election. Because unlike anyone left in this race, I will unite this party. We don't have to agree on everything. We agree on most everything. And we will come together. And we won't just come together. We will grow this party. We will take our message to people that don't vote for us now. People who live the way I grew up. People living paycheck to paycheck. People struggling with the cost of student loan debt. Like I had student loan debt, over $100,000 of student loan debt. Yeah, don't clap for student loan debt. I have never met her, but I paid Sally Mae a lot of money. Someone asked me if I'll be their prom date. When is the prom? I don't know. The last time I went to the prom, I had a really tacky tuxedo on. I don't know if you want. A long time ago. March 12th? This is a free economy. Free enterprise works. I know it because my parents were not rich people. My father was a bartender and my mother was a maid. And the reason why they had a job is because free enterprise works. Because someone who had access to money risked that money to open up a hotel and hired them. Free enterprise works because it is the only economic model in the world where you can make poor people richer and you don't have to make rich people poorer.
That's right.
We are going to save free enterprise. We're going to fix our tax code. I have a plan out there to do that. We are going to roll back these crazy regulations that come out of the federal government.
Yes.
We are going to save Social Security and Medicare and balance our budgets. We are going to fully utilize the energy resources that God has blessed America with.
Yes.
And we are going to repeal and replace Obamacare once and for all. When I'm President of the United States, you will have a real commander-in-chief, not like the weak one that we have right now.
Yes.
The world has become a very dangerous place. There is a lunatic in North Korea with nuclear weapons. And some would say a lunatic trying to get a hold of nuclear weapons in America, but that's different. We have a lunatic in North Korea with nuclear weapons. We have the Chinese government taking over the South China Sea, building up their military, stealing our inventions, and making Donald Trump's ties. And hats. It's amazing. He's going to bring back jobs from overseas, but he makes all his tacky clothes in China and in Mexico. In Russia, Vladimir Putin is sowing instability in the Middle East and in Europe. You have, in the Middle East, Iran about to get $100 billion of sanctions relief, which they're going to use to buy or build a nuclear weapon. And then you have radical Islamic jihadists spreading all over the world, including, and especially this group ISIS, that now finds itself in over a dozen countries. And in the face of this dangerous world, the president is gutting our military. We will soon have the smallest army since the end of World War II.
That's crazy.
We will soon have the smallest Navy in 100 years, and we will soon have the smallest Air Force in our entire history.
Crazy.
How can it be that the world is growing more dangerous and our military is growing smaller and weaker? And how unfair is that to our men and women in uniform?
USA! USA!
When I'm President of the United States, we are going to have a real war on terror, not this fake war on terror that's going on right now. And will again in this generation. For me, this idea that America is a special country is deeply personal. I know America is special because part of the reason why I know it so deeply is I was raised by people that knew what life was like outside of America.
Yep.
I believe that sometimes when you live here your whole life the way I have, sometimes it's easy to take it for granted. You think that this is the way it is all over the world. It isn't. In almost every country in the world, your future depends on who your parents are. If your parents were wealthy, if your dad left you a lot of money, if your parents are politically connected, in most countries on earth, you got to succeed. If they weren't, you were stuck. Imagine for a moment living in a country that says to you, it doesn't matter how hard you work, it doesn't matter how long you try, it doesn't matter how good you are only allowed to go so far. because you don't come from the right people. Well, that's foreign to us. Literally and figuratively, as Americans, we can't comprehend that. But that's the way life has been for almost everyone that's ever lived. In almost every nation on earth, that is what life is like now.
That's right.
But not here.
That's right.
This has been a special place, and I know that personally. My parents came here in 1956 from the island of Cuba, and they had nothing. I think there's 4 Cubans here. Someone has the Cuban bread bag over there. Where's the bread is what I wonder. That the Cuban bread bag, there's no bread in there. All right. They came here in 1956. My parents, when they got here, they barely spoke any English. The first words my father learned in English were, "I'm looking for a job." Okay? They had no money. They didn't have much of an education, but they were willing to work really hard, and it was hard for them. Years later, my parents admitted to me they were discouraged when they first got here. They were discouraged because they were trying and they couldn't get ahead, and they even wondered if they had made a mistake. At one point, they even thought about, maybe we should go back to Cuba. You can't imagine how glad I am they didn't go back to Cuba. Because I believe, and I always will believe, that God's hand is upon this great land. Because I know that we were founded on the powerful spiritual principle that all men are created equal. Because we are endowed by our Creator with a right to life and liberty and to pursue happiness. When you make me President of the United States, and I am asking for your vote this Tuesday, and I am asking you to go out and find more people to vote for me. Because when you make me President of the United States, we are going to re-embrace all of the principles that made America a great country. When I'm President of the United States, you will have a president for all Americans. No longer will you have a president that divides you against each other on purpose. You will have one that will never ask you to hate another group of Americans. That doesn't mean that we're going to agree on everything. Of course there are going to be people that disagree with me. Of course there are going to be people that say nasty things about me. You know what? We are going to cut their taxes too. When you make me President of the United States, you are going to have a president that loves all of the American people, even the ones that do not love me back. If you elect me President of the United States, you are going to have a president that understands that our rights come from God, not from the government. If you elect me President of the United States, you're going to have a president that will never apologize for believing that all human life is worthy of the protection of God. If you elect me President of the United States, you will have a president that will lead us in confronting our challenges and solving our problems. And I want you to know, as difficult as things may seem right now, I want you to know what history is going to say about us if we do what needs to be done. Here's what they will say about us. History will say that we, this generation of Americans, lived in the early years of this new century in a very difficult and rapidly changing time. And it will acknowledge that after 8 years of Barack Obama, this generation almost got it wrong. That this generation almost lost the American dream and what made America special. But then in 2016, we remembered who we were. In 2016, we remembered what America was all about. And we confronted our challenges and we embraced our opportunities. And when our work was done, when we did what needed to be done, our children became the freest and the most prosperous Americans that have ever lived. Because we did what needed to be done, the American dream didn't just survive. It reached more people and changed more lives than ever before. Because we did what needed to be done, the 21st century was even better than the 20th century. It became a new American century. This is what we have a chance to do together. And that is why this Tuesday I am asking you for your vote. And I am asking you to go home now and find everyone you can influence and get them to vote for me. I ask you to work hard for me. I ask you to go on our website and donate whatever you can. Because when I leave here now, we're going to Alabama, and then we're going to Arkansas, and tomorrow we'll be in Virginia. We're going to keep working hard for you, because when our work is done here, in this generation, we are going to leave for our children what our parents left for us, what Americans always leave their children, the single greatest nation in the history of all of mankind.